Well, welcome to all of you who are joining us today for our sale with our sale team for our faculty presentation series. We are really lucky today. We have Whitney Wagoner with us, who is the director of the Warsaw Sports Marketing Center here at the University of Oregon in the School of Business. And Whitney, we are really looking forward to hearing all about what the Warsaw Marketing Center does, how you got into this world, and we will have lots of questions for you. So if anyone watching today does have questions for Whitney, please feel free to put those into the chat, and we will make sure she can answer those for you. So welcome. Join us, sit back, relax, and Whitney, we are excited to have you. Thank you.
Thanks, Lara. Welcome to all of our friends in Eugene 4J and beyond. Thanks to the SAIL program for asking me to come, and thanks to all the teachers and students for taking the time out of their day today to learn about what it is to study sports business at the University of Oregon and beyond, and what some potential career paths for you might be. Just a super brief background about me. I am from Hillsboro, Oregon. I graduated from Hill High. Then I came down here to Eugene myself to study business at the university. While I was a student at the U of O, I was in the Oregon Marching Band for a couple of years on campus, which was an excellent, amazing experience. And then I transitioned to working as an intern for the Oregon Athletics Department. This was a long time ago when Oregon Athletics was not quite what it is today. We were smaller and scrappier, and beginning to become the leader in the Pac-12 conference that you know of today. But I did spend a couple of years in college interning for athletics, doing a variety of tasks within the athletic department. And it was really at that time in college that I realized I could put together the fact that I was studying business, interested in a business career, and my love and passion for sport. And it was through the combination of the business coursework and curriculum and interning for Oregon Athletics that I came to understand the possibilities that existed to have a career in sport beyond the field of play. So that was my background coming to the university, having it be shown to me that there was such a thing as pursuing a career in sport marketing. And through that opportunity to study at U of O, I was able to apply for an amazing job out of college. And I graduated from U of O and moved directly to New York City, where I worked at the National Football League headquarters office for about 8 years. I worked in the corporate partnerships department. So I worked with brands like Pepsi Cola and Motorola and Verizon, Visa, many others. And I helped those companies leverage their partnership with the National Football League to achieve their business goals. So I had just an amazing experience in New York to be a girl from a small town in Oregon and have the opportunity to learn and work and contribute to one of the top sports organizations in the world was just incredible. But I'm a girl from Eugene now. I had a great time in New York, but I'm happy to be back in Oregon, thrilled to be working at the U of O and helping students like you um, pursue these opportunities the way that I was fortunate enough to have opportunities. So I'm happy to take all that I have learned in my time at the NFL and beyond, working every day with companies who are interested in making sure that the future leadership of sport business is strong and bright and creative and innovative. So that's just a quick background about me. Let's dive into what is the Warsaw Center and what does it mean at a university to study sports business. So, as Laura said, we are a degree program and we're housed in the College of Business, which means that our students will get a degree in business, either a bachelor's of arts or a bachelor's of science degree in business. We also have a graduate program out of our MBA program. So we also offer a master's degree program in addition to a bachelor's degree program in sport business. It's important that we are in a business school because sport is a business. As you all know from following teams you love or spending your hard earned money on a new pair of Jordans, sport is business. They are here to make money. They are here to drive value to shareholders, just like an auto company is or a soda pop company is. So the skills that are required to pursue a career in sport marketing are the skills you learn in a business school, right? So our students get a degree in business, a bachelor's degree in business, but we focus in the Warsaw Center on courses and experiences tied to sport marketing, right? So you can see here the kinds of specialty courses that we offer. A sports marketing class is a demand creation class, right? How do I sell more tickets? How do I sell more sneakers? How do I sell more golf clubs? Sports finance is looking at what are the big picture economic levers of the business of sport. Where does our revenue come from? Ticket sales, sponsorship, cable streaming packages, for example. And what are our expenses? Player salaries, coaches' salaries, equipment, venue upkeep, etc. So the sports finance class is big picture arc of where does money come into the business of sport and where does the outflow go in terms of expenses. Sports sponsorship is a course that is tied to what I was telling you about in terms of my role at the National Football League. What is the relationship between corporate entities and sport? Coca-Cola, AT&T, Verizon, Gatorade, Anheuser-Busch. What are those companies looking to achieve by sponsoring a college bowl game, for example? How are those deals structured? How do you negotiate them? How do you bring them to life and market those relationships? And then how do you evaluate their success? Sports law is a super fun class that we offer because there's always something to talk about. Topics in this class can include collective bargaining, player unionization, the use of player name, image, and likeness, trademark protection, if there is a lockout or a strike within a sports organization or a league, there's always something on the cutting edge taken from the headlines on sports law. Sports products is a class that's really special for us here in the state of Oregon, given our proximity to Portland and all of the sports product companies that are based there. So that class is a deep dive into something like a Nike or an Adidas or an Under Armour or Lululemon, right? What is their corporate strategy? How do they decide what product categories? How do they decide what retail outlets? How do they design, build, ship, market, and sell a variety of sports products to consumers directly? So again, always something new to talk about there, the emergence of new products, styles and trends, the use of athletes in marketing. Sports branding really just is a deep dive into this emotional relationship that consumers have with sport, right? One of the reasons why it's a popular career choice is because people are passionate about sport and it's something they love, right? There is an emotional connection between your favorite team, or whether you're a Jordan guy or a Converse guy. There's something about what those brands stand for and how they connect with consumers emotionally. And so as marketers, we have to understand what are those what are those bits of connectivity? What is it about this brand that speaks to people? How do we manage that brand and do marketing and communications that supports that relationship that consumers have? And lastly, we added this new course just this past year on the business of the Olympic Games. Right, there is there is something unique about the global Olympic movement from a business perspective as well. It is a truly global platform. It is a complex situation with lots of different stakeholders, lots of different nations, lots of different sports, lots of different media organizations who have rights to cover the games. How do you sell sponsorships for those? How do you sustainably host an Olympic Games without making a city go bankrupt and build buildings that leave a negative environmental footprint that are never used again? Those types of questions. So all of that is just to again highlight that what our program is at the core is a business program. Our students are getting business degrees. They are trained in core business principles like marketing and management and accounting and finance. And then we layer in these specialty topics. What is unique about the business of sport? What is on the cutting edge of the needs of the sport industry? And so our business students take these specialty classes to take a deep dive into an industry that they love. But this is just half of the story. This is in classroom. And then we spend a lot of our time putting together experiences for our students beyond the classroom. We call it experiential learning. And I'm sure all of your teachers have already shown you plenty of examples where, sitting in a classroom context alone is not sufficient to really understand about the world around us. And it's certainly not enough to take a class without having some outside perspective to really tell us what's going on in industry. So what we do is provide as many opportunities to our students as possible to engage with the sports industry beyond the classroom. So you can see the categories here. These are relatively straightforward. I know many of you have already been doing many of these things throughout your high school career, but we take our students on site visits. We go to Portland regularly to engage with the sports companies in Portland. Our study tours, when we've been able to do them, our study tours have included an undergraduate week in Boston, visiting sport companies in Boston. And we also have 2 study abroad experiences specifically for sport business, where we have undergraduate students going to London, Amsterdam, and Germany, and visiting sports companies in Europe as well. So we are committed to making sure that our students get outside of the Eugene bubble, get outside of the classroom bubble, and engage on the ground at sports companies to really get a sense of what is it like to work there, what are the challenges that they're facing, what are the opportunities. We bring people to Eugene too, of course, when we're able. We have a very robust program of guest speakers from industry coming to town on a regular basis. Like this, we've been leveraging Zoom the last few months to have guest speakers come, but we are always active with high-level industry guest speakers coming to town. Job shadows and internships are things you probably are already talking about within your high school classes and with your counselors about being job ready, right? And our job at the U of O is to teach the curriculum in the classroom and help students be able to turn that into job readiness, right? So we work really hard to pipeline in opportunities for our students to do job shadows and internships with a variety of employers, some of them local, many of them not. Um, and, you know, I should say that the Warsaw Center, we've been doing this now for 27 years. We have a really strong reputation in the sports industry. Employers know that we have great students. So we get inbound traffic all the time with employers saying, I need your best and brightest for this internship. Will you post this job with your students? We'd love to have an Oregon student. Our reputation of having really, really high class young talent has given us access to a lot of broad and diverse and interesting sport business internship and job opportunities because of the strength of our program. I also just want to call out a little special here on projects and volunteer opportunities. All programs across the country offer these kinds of experiences to their students. What's really special about the University of Oregon and who we are and where we are is the high level world class nature of these kinds of opportunities. So for example, back in the olden days when ESPN College Game Day did road shows and we played football games in Autzen Stadium, whenever Eugene was slated to be the College Game Day show weekend host, I am the first person they call because they need student volunteers. They need people to help at the Home Depot Make Your Sign station. They need students to be runners for the on-air talent. They need students to help manage social media, for example. Things like the fact that the new Hayward Field will be hosting the US Olympic Track and Field Trials and the World Track and Field Championship. Those are opportunities for our students. The fact that this campus boasts world-class intercollegiate athletics and a world-class academic program in sport marketing allows our students to have really an unparalleled kind of experiential education with us because it's all happening right on our own campus. We have partnerships with athletics. We have students in the Warsaw Center who are doing the same kinds of internships that I did a million years ago. So those pipelines are strong. So whenever there is something like the track and field trials or championships, the NCAA golf championships happened at Eugene Country Club several years ago. Those kinds of things become real world experiential opportunities for our students. They happen regularly. And that really is the secret sauce, right? Where you take the classroom curriculum, the things that we are teaching you, and you put that together with an opportunity to do it yourself. That's really where students become job ready and very attractive future candidates for sports employers. The last little bit, I'll just do this quick, Lara, and then I'll swing back to you. This just puts a little, I think, maybe perspective on our size and our reach. So any given June, we graduate about 120 business students who have focused in sport marketing. We graduate every year about 24 MBA students. Our Warsaw Sports Business Club, which is a very typical student-run organization like you would experience in high school, has about 350 members across campus at any given time. Like I said, we've been around for 27 years, so we have a really active group of alumni who are eager to help young duckies and reach back and pay it forward. So we have about 750 alums. And if you are interested in getting to know us a little bit more, seeing for yourself the kinds of experiences our students have and the kinds of conversations that we have, I would encourage you to find us on Twitter and Instagram. Those are primarily run by our students, so you'll get to see kind of a flavor of what we do by following those channels. All right, so before we go on to the next sort of set of things, Lara, were there questions on the program structure?
Well, we have a whole list of questions. And as far as program structure, one is, how can I join the Warsaw Club? And what are you looking for when someone applies for the Warsaw program?
Excellent questions. Let's start with applying to the Warsaw program. And that is about being an admitted student to the Lundquist College of Business at U of O. So there is no application process for the Warsaw Center. Any U of O student who has applied and been admitted to become a business major, anyone who's an admitted business major can join the Warsaw Center. We are an elective, check the box, self-align with the Warsaw Center after you have been admitted to the College of Business as a business major. The Warsaw Sports Business Club, similarly, is a volunteer organization. There are no membership requirements per se. That student organization is open to any student at the U of O, any year, any major, any time. Any student at the University of Oregon is able to join the Sports Business Club. They pay $75 a year in dues. There are scholarship programs available to get that waived. So at core, what really is important to think about our program is that you must be admitted to the Lundquist College of Business as a business major. That information is all available online. And then you self-select the Warsaw Center, and we are open to anyone who is a member of our business school.
So another question is, are there classes in high school they should take that would make them look better to the business school if they wanted to apply to the business school?
I think, we use a holistic admissions process. So the business college looks at everything in a well-rounded picture. Certainly, if you have an interest in this area and there are introductory business courses, those are helpful. I would not say they're required, and I wouldn't say that you can't get in if you don't take those classes. It really is holistic about your overall academic performance. So, of course, your GPA coming in from high school will matter. Who are you and what else do you do, right? Are you involved in community service? Are you a club leader at the high school level? Were you a student athlete in high school? Are you active in community organizations, philanthropic organizations, et cetera? So it really is a holistic look at things. If you're interested in business, then take a business class. But I would not say that it is a requirement to take a business class.
Awesome, thank you. Another question was, are there any of these online or any of these kind of experiential opportunities that you typically do in person, or any of them available virtually as a tour kind of thing?
Oh, that's interesting. We should talk about that. I think one of the things that we had discussed, Lara, was the potential of this 4J partnership and getting student clubs at the U of O to have connected experiences with various high school clubs around the district. So the Sports Business Club is super happy to do that. And then I would also just direct people to what the Central University is doing around Duck Days or introduction. Um, so that's, I think, what maybe two first steps would be.
Awesome.
So let me just shift here a little bit and sort of change from the specifics of the Warsaw Center to a much broader conversation about, what is this sports marketing, and what are the career paths if someone is interested in this topic. And again, I think the important thing is that you don't have to be an athlete to work in sport. You don't have to be a former athlete to work in sport. You don't need to know all the rules of a sport or be able to talk about whether a 3-4 defense is better than a 4-3. We don't need to know those things directly. This is a business. And so what we want are good, creative business people. So I get this very simple question a lot, which is, Whitney, what is sports marketing? What even do people do? So as I mentioned before, we create demand for products. We are selling things. We are in the business to make money like other businesses are. And so our job is to create energy and excitement so that people will buy things. Things like tickets to games, footwear and apparel, subscriptions to whether that's a TV show or a subscription product for some sort of brand, getting people to watch, stream, view content on a streaming service or television. Licensed merchandise, that's all the team swag. Duck merchandise, Cowboys merchandise, Seattle Storm, WNBA championship t-shirts, all that sort of stuff. Equipment, bats, balls, golf clubs, bicycles, surfboards, all of the hard goods equipment that is required to participate in sport activities are also part of what we do, which ties into that next bullet, right? Sport marketing is about selling things to spectators and fans. It's also about getting people to participate more in sport. So whether or not that's driving sign up to kid sports, for example, or a basketball league at the Y, or more memberships at a golf or swim club, or getting adults to sign up for a rec league or to participate in the Eugene Marathon, getting people to participate in sport and to spend money on those activities through their equipment and their participation is what we do. Selling non-sports, using sports as a theme is the corporate sponsorship stuff I've mentioned a couple times, right? How do we use the Olympic Games and the inspiration and the power of the Olympic Games to sell more Coca-Cola products around the world? Using the influence of athletes and selling the athletes' image and their influence. So thinking about all the times you are watching television commercials or you're hanging out online and you see athletes who are pitching products. They have done television commercials or they're doing sponsored posts on IG. How do we harness the cultural power of athletes and use the athlete's name to help us sell products? How do we help athletes market themselves, help them in new ventures if athletes themselves want to become entrepreneurs? How do we take advantage of the cultural credibility and that cool icon factor that athletes have? And how do we use that to advance our business? Brand management, I talked about, fan development is a really, really important piece of what we do, right? Why are people sports fans? I have to know the answer to that. If my job is to sell more tickets to Oregon women's basketball, I have to understand why people are interested. What are their motivations? What do they want to get out of that experience? I have to understand my consumers so that I can give them the experience that they want, and that I can run promotions and sales tactics that speak directly to those fan bases. What are their motivations and interests? How do I get them to come to their first game? How do I then get them to buy a 5 game mini pack? Then how do I get them to become a season ticket holder, right? So there is a lot of work being done in sport marketing in developing that fan pipeline, understanding who are our fans, why are they fans, what are they getting out of a relationship with my team, and how do I take that understanding and ratchet up their engagement and their spending with our company. So what does that mean? What kinds of jobs do our students get, right? Again, we're on the business side of things, so this list is really any business list, right? If you think about a company like Nike, every business function exists at Nike. Every business function exists at the National Football League, the same that would exist at a bank, the same that would exist at Coca-Cola. Those functions exist in a sports organization. So these are the general kinds of roles and types of jobs that our students are trained for and our students are getting when they graduate. Marketing is the stuff we've been talking about. Social and digital media is huge, of course. All of the sports brands, the teams, the athletes, they need professionals who are managing their social and digital media handles. What content are they putting out into the world? What videos are they taking? How are they engaging fans on Twitter, Instagram, Snap? Those are professional marketing people who are managing those social media channels, and our students are prepared to do that. In-game promotions and fan experience, right? For those of you who have been able to go to Oregon events, for those of you who have gone to maybe a Trailblazers game, right? Everything that happens in the arena is well planned, is tied to a sponsor, right? What are we going to do at the timeout? Who's the halftime performer? Who's singing the anthem? Make sure we have a giveaway if the Trailblazers score 100 points. Make sure we have a community service angle for every time there's a made half court shot, whatever that is, right? You all know what I'm talking about. Those fun, engaging promotions, quarter breaks, t-shirt cannons, all that stuff. That all is strategic. There's a reason that all of those things are programmed. They're tied to marketing, they're tied to fan engagement, they're tied to supporting corporate partners. So all of those need to be planned, strategized, and executed. Corporate partnerships we've talked about. Sales is a huge piece, right? We need you to buy tickets. And if we need you to buy tickets, then we need to have someone who's going to be the ticket seller. So whether that's online, whether that's taking inbound calls, whether that's outbound phone calls, sales is a very active part of sport marketing. So there is always opportunity to get a career in sports sales around ticket sales or sponsorship sales. Finance and accounting, right? Nike needs accountants just like a bank needs accountants, just like any company needs accountants. So there are tons of opportunities to work in a sports organization doing very typical finance and accounting types of roles. Market research, I mentioned fan segmentation, fan engagement. Who are the fans? How do I find them? How do I talk to them? What questions do I ask them so that I can understand who they are and what they want out of their relationship with the Portland Trailblazers, for example? Event management is just straight up planning. What time is kickoff? What time does the door open? How many parking lots do we need? How many security personnel do we need? How many bathrooms? How many sanitary staff? How many ticket takers? How many people at the concessions? All that stuff takes significant planning. There are many, many opportunities in sport around event management. Community relations is the opportunity to connect a sports organization to its broader community. In sport, that is things like sending players to children's hospitals to read books to kids, or having the Portland Trailblazers rehabilitate basketball courts in the greater Portland metro area. That is Sluggo, the Eugene M's mascot, coming and doing assemblies at elementary schools around town, right? So that's philanthropy, that's social activism that sports organizations take in their local community. Retail merchandising is the product companies, Nike, Adidas. How do they come to life at a store? When you, if you even actually go to stores, you young people with your online buying, but what does that look like? What does it look like when you go onto Dix.com, or what does it look like when you go to footlocker.com? What is it like when you go to the Nike signature website? How do you shop for product? How does the product look to you while you're shopping? What are the experiences you have as a consumer when you are deciding to buy sport product, whether that's an in-store environment, whether that's an online environment? How do you search for things? How do you get the greatest deal? What colorway are you looking for? How do you want to see it presented when you're buying? That's all retail merchandising. Account management is managing your partners, right? So I, at the NFL, managed Motorola, I managed IBM, I managed Visa. How do you keep those relationships with your business partners strong? And then lastly, strategic planning, again, like any business, right? What is the future? What is the future of Nike? What is the future for the NBA? Are we going to expand overseas? Are we going to have more teams in the NBA? Are we going to stream on Twitch rather than be broadcast on TNT? Big strategic questions about the growth of the business. So what I hope you see in this list is that this is a very classic business list. And again, any kind of role that you could see in any kind of organization will exist in a sports company. You don't have to be a sport expert. You don't have to be a competitive athlete. You don't need to know all the X's and O's or ins and outs of the sport. You need to know business. And in fact, I would even say that in many cases, people who know relatively little about the particular sport tend to do very, very well on the business side. They can separate their fan hat from their business hat. And instead of making decisions based on the fact that they love the Portland Trailblazers, they make decisions based on what's best for the business. So I hope if you find this interesting, but you're saying to yourself, well, I'm not really a sports kid and I never played on a sports team in high school, that is absolutely not a requirement to be successful in our business. Good business smarts and organizational smarts is what's required. So Lara, I'll stop there sort of on jobs and careers and see if any questions have popped up there.
We have a list of questions. And I think following just what you're talking about is what somebody had asked about what would be if they were to double major, what would be a great, or have a minor along with a business major, what would really pair nicely with that? And well, let's start with that.
Okay, we'll start with that. Honestly, the answer is anything is great. It really is. To be technical, I think that some of the programs in our journalism and communications program, right? So we do marketing, but we don't necessarily do advertising, or we don't do broadcast media, or we don't do advertising and communications and PR. So it's very common to pair sport marketing and sport business with communications and media type studies. I would also say anything around economics, statistics, some math, right? A lot of the future of where sport business is going is around analytics of the business, right? So there's analytics for sports, right? This guy shoots a three-pointer X percentage of the time and Y percentage of his three-point shots are good. But on the business side, we also do analytics, right? Um, what is the average age of our fan base? What is the average per um, per bag on Nike.com? This person spends an average of $211. How do we take analytics, business analytics, and use that to better understand our customers? So that then is economics, statistics, the ability to come up with math algorithms to help maximize sport. Like a super nerdy, fun area of the sport business is around the algorithms for ticket pricing, right? So a ticket for a game on a Friday night costs more than a ticket on a Tuesday night. And the price probably changes based on the opponent. And the price changes whether it's 7:05 on Friday or 4:30 on Friday. So there is just a lot of opportunity for people who are really good on the quantitative side around data and math and economics to help us figure out the ideal price to set for a game ticket for a Tuesday at 7:05 against an opponent in my own division is X dollars, but I can sell that same ticket for Y dollars if the game is on Friday at 7:05 versus someone in my division. So math, econ, statistics is a good combination. Media, communications, journalism, advertising is a good combination, or anything you want really also works.
Great answer. Thank you. Another question is what's the most profitable sport, in your opinion, as a marketeer?
Well, it's a very difficult thing actually because most sports, if we're talking about teams and leagues, most sports actually are not profitable at all. Um, One of, I think, the biggest misunderstandings about sport is that we generate a lot of revenue, we make a lot of money, but we don't make a lot of profit because it's so expensive to operate, right? So think about the Portland Trailblazers, for example, right? My hometown team. I'm a fan. I adore them. They are not profitable from a business perspective year over year. Yes, they make a lot of money on ticket sales. Yes, they make a lot of money on merchandise. Yes, they make a lot of money from their partners, but they spend a lot of money. They have to pay their players. They have to pay those new guaranteed salaries. They have to pay the coaches. They have to upkeep the Moda Center. They have to put them on a private jet whenever they take a road trip. They have to pay for massages, et cetera, et cetera. So profitability, where you actually have some left over at the end, is not very common in sport because sport is so expensive to operate. With one notable exception, and that is the National Football League. The National Football League teams and their ownership do tend to be profitable year over year. There are just certain things about how they do business, the popularity of the National Football League in the United States that allows most to many of them to be profitable. Some NBA teams are, most are not. Virtually no MLB teams are profitable. Virtually no Major League Soccer teams are profitable. If you just look at how much money came in this year and how much money did we have to spend to operate year over year, it's very difficult to be profitable.
Thank you. I have two more questions at the moment.
Yes.
How has sports marketing changed over your career?
This is a good bridge to sort of, I think, what will be our ultimate maybe closing conversation. So, one of the great things about working in sport, there are many great things about working in sport, but the fact that it is always changing is something that makes it really exciting, right? Um, so, I think this overall question of how affordable is it, and is it something that can be sustained as a business, right? So let's just think about our own community, and the greater community of Eugene and Springfield, and our Oregon Ducks football team, and the 65,000 or so seats that are available at Autzen Stadium, and the fact that there's only 6 home games and there's 65,000 seats, and some of them go to donors who have a lot of money, and some of those seats go to corporate partners who pay a lot of money, and some of those seats go to students. And so eventually you get to actually a relatively small amount of tickets that are available to the public. Those prices continue to rise. Nobody usually goes to a game by themselves. So now, if you're a family in the Eugene Springfield area, you're talking about 4 tickets or 5 tickets or 6 tickets. And you have to maybe pay to park, or you have to make sure you save some money to bring to buy food. And it's your little sister's 13th birthday, and all she wants is an Oregon Ducks hoodie at Autzen for her birthday. So now I have to pay for that. So I think one of the big picture things to keep an eye on in sport is how accessible from a financial perspective is it for mainstream American families to go to experience the ballpark together, to have those memories as a family. The costs keep going up and up and up. And will that have a negative impact on sort of mainstream, regular type of typical sports fans and their families? So that's one. Um, I think that I have here on my list, I think another really important thing to keep an eye on if you're interested in this space is what's going on in collegiate athletics, right? I'm sure if for those of you who follow college sports, you have conversations with your friends about whether or not college student athletes should get paid, whether or not college student athletes should be able to make money on the fact that they are famous Oregon athletes, right? Um, if you're a Duck fan and you went to the Duck store on campus last year, you could have purchased jerseys, football jerseys with the number 10, and women's basketball jerseys with the number 20. Justin Herbert and Sabrina Ionescu didn't make any money off those jerseys. Should they? Could they? Will they in the future? So I think the changing narrative around what is the economic model for collegiate athletics, what, if any, compensation is due and owed to the student athletes themselves. I think those are really interesting conversations. Um, Another on this list before I take a pause is what I put here: cord cutting and OTT media, which means over the top, right? In the olden days, talk to your parents, right? We would plug our television into the wall and TV channels would pop up. It was magic. You just plugged in your TV and you had TV channels. And sports was on TV, but whatever game was on was the game you were watching, right? Those are the olden days. Now, with really robust cable packages, with people who don't have cable at all, which might be you in your household, where you don't have cable, you just have subscribed to various streaming products, right? Now, sports fans can say, the only game I'm interested in is the Monday night game with the LA Chargers and Justin Herbert on Monday night. How do I find access to that game? Do I need a TV package? Do I need a streaming package? Am I going to pirate it from someone else's stream? Am I going to go to a restaurant and watch it on TV? Am I going to, are they going to make it available on Facebook Live or Facebook Watch? Right. So the future of how do we access sports content has changed so fundamentally from even 30 years ago, when there was no such thing as streaming, when not everyone had cable, you just had a television. NBC told you the Chargers game is the game of the week. If you want another game, sorry, we don't have it for you. This shift to where we as the consumers can watch any game, any sport from anywhere on the planet at any time of day on any device is so transformational to our business. We haven't quite figured it out yet. How much do you charge? Do you need a cable package and a streaming package and a television? Lots of interesting questions about the future of accessing live sport content around the world on any device, anytime, via stream.
Oh, it really, you have hit on a lot of interesting points that I think we're all aware of, but haven't put as much thought into. So, wow.
Never a dull moment in sport business.
No, I think I'm gonna come take some classes, Whitney. um, I just had one other question in the chat at the moment that speaking of how expensive everything is, bridges to, are there scholarships out there for students who would like to get a sports marketing business degree or just even a business degree?
Yes, the answer is yes. The main University of Oregon Financial Aid Office is a wealth of information on the topic of scholarships. And yes, there are business scholarships. There is a sports business scholarship. It's actually named for a young man who went to Marist. I don't know if we have any Marist students out there today, but Stephen Dember was a graduate of Marist High School and came to Oregon to do sports business with us. And he tragically passed away in an accident when he was 20. So his parents named a memorial scholarship in his honor for students specifically studying sport business with us. And he has a hometown tie since he was a Marist graduate. So the answer is yes. Scholarships are available for business in general, for sport business in particular.
Fantastic. That's great. Our students are definitely interested in looking for how to make this feasible in their futures. Gosh, Whitney, you've just given us an incredible amount of stuff to think about. I'm so impressed with everything that goes into the sports marketing business. If we were to have students, we will definitely be trying to work on connecting any business clubs
Yes.
with the university's sports clubs. But if there are any opportunities for students who would like to virtually shadow a class or have further questions about the field, where would you direct them?
Yes, well, there are, I think for general questions about joining us at the University of Oregon, there's the Central U of O admissions office. The business school also has an admissions counselor and admissions office for undergraduates who want to study business. And I would say that I myself am open to having more conversations if there are particular schools uh, who have business classes or who have a sport marketing club or have a group of students who are interested in talking more about these topics. I'm certainly um, up for engaging with particular schools who have groups of students who have more interest. Um, and to follow us, like I mentioned, on social media. And then there's good old fashioned email, and anybody can reach out to me at any time. I get about 7 million emails a day. I will get back to you. I am probably not the quickest you've ever seen, but I will get back to you. And I would just like to close. I know we have just about 3 minutes left here, but um, this business is for anyone and everyone. I just really want to stress that this is about creative people. This is about problem solving. This is about tapping into passions that people have, um, and any path is possible. Um, it is true that our program is awesome, and it is true that we do a great job of educating people who want to be competitive in this industry. It's also true that you can achieve all of this by going another route. And there are plenty of stories of people who didn't study business at all. There are plenty of examples of people who went to a community college and then started their own business and transitioned into the industry later. There are plenty of paths. There is not only one path. Um, Ours is a good one, but it's not the only one. And so I just want to recognize that there's room for everybody, and there are opportunities to succeed taking lots of different routes, and those work in the end, right? If you are passionate about this business, if you have the skills, ability, creativity, communication skills, you're a team player, you're just passionate about this space, there's room for everybody, and there are many, many paths to get there. So don't feel like there's only one way to do it. There's lots of different ways to do it. And there's room for everybody who's passionate about the business of sport and sport marketing. So feel free to engage different paths and find the one that fits you best. And if you are interested, there will be opportunities for you.
Thank you, Whitney, so much for taking this time, and your passion and energy just pops off the Zoom stream here. And we will definitely see more of you, because I think you've inspired people today, I'm sure. Uh, and um, if anyone does have further questions and you would like to reach out through the SAIL program, feel free to do that as well. I'm Laura Fernandez, the Executive Director. I forgot to say that in the beginning, but we are always here for you. We have a fantastic team of people, and we can always find Whitney for you if you have forgotten her email. We will be having faculty presentations every week at this time, and you will be learning tremendous amount of different opportunities that are available to you at the university. So thank you, Whitney, and thanks to the Warsaw Sports Marketing Center for sharing you. So
thanks, everybody. Stay safe and have a great day.
woo! We will sign off. Bye-bye.